Elijah.
Hello, Diego. Hello, everybody. So this is Planetary Guardians, and which number session is this?
7.
6.
6.
Number 6?
Yeah.
Planetary Guardian session 6, Planetary Guardian number 001. Perhaps in the future, there'll be hundreds of thousands of Planetary Guardian teams, or maybe just 2. That was it.
I don't know, Elijah. I don't know.
Right.
It's like the beginning. It seems like the beginning of something.
I don't know.
Why don't we have a check-in from everybody, and just how about and share your, let's say, biggest insight of the week around what you're learning, perhaps. Hopefully bring in the maps, but you don't have to. Hopefully bring in the values, but you don't have to. Like, what is the big insight of the week that you would like to share? Diego, you want to start?
Well, yeah, if Jorge had his hand up, yeah.
Yeah, I could start this time. Diego. It seems like I was been picking on Diego. I could start this time because something came up. It's been this week more in the heart, like coming from the heart, like realizing like I was going too much into the details and like, or not too much, like it's like part of it, part of the work, and like it's really like coming down to like the emotions and like all the emotions that we have to deal with to be able to collaborate on a schedule or collaborate together. Like something needs to be in sync in the heart, and something there needs to be like a readiness for it, and almost like an acceptance. There's gonna be a mix of our craziness, my craziness with your craziness, in all of this process. So yeah, I'll keep it short like that. It's been about reconnecting with the more sensitive part, and the more the knowing that there's gonna be like listening, a lot of listening, and a lot of sharing, and having these tools is great because it's and by these tools I mean the maps. Like it's great because it really is a foundation that lets me see everything overall, and keep pushing forward towards our goals, towards what we want to achieve together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everybody, Melissa checking in. I feel lots of like busy energy in these last few days, like lots of action energy. Yeah, action that like feels like the important thing to do, more than talking. And the insight that I'm coming into in the last few days is that I'm still holding stories against people. Like I'm seeing another level of what feels like stories, judgments, conditionings, what I think things should be versus what they actually are. And so this has caused me to be a little bit quieter. Yeah, this is happening the last few days with my family. It's something very like personal. That's my check-in. Thank you.
Yeah, just feeling a lot of fullness of the moon, and lots of feeling like full with emotion, and connecting deeply with the elements and the water, and realizing the importance for like going in the cold ocean and just breathing. Our big insight this week was I just had it. There was something just like readjusting our whole entire lives and schedules, and finding a schedule or rhythm that works well with our new ways, and acceptance of that it's not easy for a lot of people right now. And so just to be really compassionate and gentle on ourselves while we're trying to get things going. Thank you.
Diego?
Yeah. And for myself, yeah, Diego checking in, and yeah, it's been quite the week, quite the ride. We been journeying together, the four of us. We had a trip last weekend to Souk as a group, and I found that was really powerful. And then just coming back from that and feeling the constancy of, yeah, it's been really interesting. I was just writing down my values right now. And what's coming up, it's so interesting that in the values, I started getting one-on-one, personal space, group space, community space. It's almost as if these different spaces, I'm starting to value them a lot because I see the impact they're having in my life, and I can really see how they're the anchor points that are moving me forward. So I was just thinking about how in Souk, for example, we connected with the community, and that felt really good, being with a larger group of people and all of us almost just moving as a unit and interacting and growing together. And then I've been seeing that once we've been back and we've been focusing each week on each one of us individually to support each other's needs and what we want to create. And this week, it's been my support week, so I've been getting supported, and it's been really interesting because for these last 2 weeks, we decided to create a schedule to actually keep track of things, to truly get to create what we want or have an idea where we can all meet. And it's super interesting because, yeah, these schedules are giving me the insight of what creates rhythm in my life and what can actually get me engaged in what I want to be doing, instead of just having an idea and then be like, oh, well, it'd be cool to do that, but then not having the support of other people being interested, or just not even being able to achieve it. But once I see it, it's like I even have it like now here, and I just kind of look at it, the layout we created. And yeah, it's really interesting because now when I can see the weeks and the days, it just really allows me to see what's going to happen and the intentions that we have as a group that are coming up, and that just makes it happen. And I see that the main anchor points for our schedule are one-on-one, and then group activities, and then children activities. So it's almost as, yeah, I see the value again of these different pretty much working in these different spaces. And I'm really finding out that without having one-on-one or group space or community space, it's almost as if there's no work to be done. There's no work to be done if it's only personal space, and like I'm gonna focus on my own work personally. It's like nothing happens because it's like almost it's like gravitating by myself, instead of saying like, wait, we can orbit together and start like creating a greater image. So I'm just starting to see, yeah, the value of truly engaging with group and community and one-on-one. I find those four things for myself, they're opening really big my vision to the work I want to be doing, because before I had ideas of what I wanted to create, but now I see that when I'm truly focusing with individually with friends, like getting together with Serena, for example, yesterday we decided to have a one-on-one to go out in nature and do a nature school and record content, because we want to start uploading and creating videos on YouTube of nature connection. And I find this will be part of our, yeah, I guess our idea of nature caravan, which I'm starting to see a business out of it too. So it's like all of these ideas are starting to grow, but first also focusing it to be a passion. And I just see the importance of having the support of others to co-create, because if there's no other people to co-create, it's as if there's not that momentum or inertia that gets created. So it's just, yeah, really exciting to start to find out that once I acknowledge the importance of working with others and how to do it, because I'm also finding out that working as a group is really valuable, but then also having the space of one-on-one, it's as valuable, or having the complete like community coming together, it's also really valuable to reassess where we're going all together and to see where everybody's at and what's everybody's gifts. And then from then to then have the time to go into personal space, I find is just as important. And I'm just starting to find a balance and how we can all fit almost in a schedule, which I was very, very liking, because we, yeah, at this point, with everything changing, like pretty much everybody lost their schedules, and it's just like, well, okay, it's like being out of orbit and having nothing to hold on to. And I find just by getting together and setting our intentions at the beginning of the week, as we've been doing on Monday, after it's been just, it's life changing. It's like, wow, okay, this is how it works, and I can do it at the beginning of every week. And I find that when I'm doing it with a group, it's so much more helpful than doing it by myself, because yeah, when I do it by myself, it's almost it's not the same. It's not working with a team. It's not like it's opening my mind of why we create things as humans, as a group, not in individual. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do all by myself, and it's impossible. Like, we can't succeed in life alone. That's what I'm just. Well, yeah, it's a lot. I'm starting to see. Yeah, but it's yeah. Thanks for your work, Elijah.
That's a big insight. That's that's a great sharing, everybody. One thing I think I want to add here is the 5 spaces is like a fractal, right? So you can go into the personal space and then kind of go into the, again, personal space, group space, sacred, community, and one-on-one from the point of view of that personal space. So it's almost like if you go into the personal space and then you go into the personal space, that's like your pure personal space. But let's say you're in a personal space and let's say you're having a one-on-one interaction with somebody, but you still keep your bubble. You don't, like, I think communion is when you open up your field and you're really meeting the presence of the other one-on-one. But I think in general, what people do is they don't know that they're bringing their bubble, their personal space, into that field. And you can tell, like, if someone's not listening, or like, it depends on where their mind is. It depends upon, you know, where are they putting their attention? Are they truly listening? Are they truly like participating with you? Or their mind's somewhere else and they're just waiting for you to stop before they can talk? And that seems to be like the human condition, right? It's just like, it really depends upon how much present moment awareness the person has, how much presence they have, and how much they want to open and allow you almost to exist, right? So many people are walking around and they have this bubble on their head. They come up to you and you can talk to them, but you can tell, like, they never take the bubble off. And to me, that is like a person who's always in their personal space, and then they go into the one-on-one space, they go into the group space, they go into the community space, but they're never experiencing the other person or the group. And I know for me, if I go into a group space, my default is sit there and observe. I'm not participating. I don't have, you know, I've had so much, let's say, trauma in groups or dismissal or like whatever our patterns are, they get anchored very, you know, as a child or in school. And, you know, they're there pretty much for the rest of our lives unless we have some methodology to transform that. And that's what we're doing here. But I haven't kind of come across a model that sort of describes it as simply as this 5 spaces model. And when you fractal it, when you go into the, like, if you want like a true one-on-one space, it's almost like, okay, well, I'll go into the one-on-one space and then both people have to go into the one-on-one space together. And that to me is like real communion. That's what, like, everyone is dying for, that type of connection and attention from the other, right? Where the other person's out of the way, you're out of the way, and you're there together. And I mean, most might call it making love or having some sort of beautiful moment with one another. But what this does is it sort of gives the mind the ability to see it and talk about it in the moment when it's there or it's not there. So for you guys, it's like, now you got the model, now you can use it to bring deeper and deeper connection between you and to find out, okay, well, what's blocking that? What are the things that are stopping it? Oh, I've got a fear of this. Oh, I don't want to do this. And then when you have the presence to participate and listen, you know, you go down in layers and layers and layers and remove them until you're just there without all the patterns. You're in pure presence And then the energy to me from source is what everyone again, I think, is aiming for. But, you know, I guess we'll have to see.
Wow.
So you had an assignment of doing a value system with the flow map.
What's the audio?
Did everybody do that?
Can you still hear me? I just changed my audio into speakers.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
So did the assignment was to complete the flow map?
I just have a like about towards what you just talked about, like I just found that so beautiful, and I actually just I almost had a is it yeah, it's almost like once I caught all of that, it says if I don't speak it, it's almost gonna leave me forever, because it's like when you listen to something and you never speak it, it just goes out the other way. But I'm like, wow, it's so wonderful. It's like full. It's such a gift. Like I had never reflected that one-on-one space. As we've been holding it together now, truly having that intention of meeting in that way with the other person, to truly be there and listen to them, and as you described this bubble, how we can bring it forward, and almost being aware of our personal space. When you were speaking, you really allowed me to acknowledge how I can tap into my body, and always acknowledge I'm in my personal space within my body, and from that feeling I can open up to listen. And that was so helpful, because you showed me that through this being in my personal space, I can be present and listen, instead of almost, I don't know if thought patterns, like being on my head, it's almost as if I'm not present to be with the other person, or even with my own personal space, missing out in so that was, I found that very intriguing to see it that way. And wow, that ability to listen and to be in a room when you spoke into that for me, that's an amazing way to be able to tap into a space. We usually it's like it's having like an open mind. I really like that perspective. Thank you so much for sharing.
Can I add something, Diego?
Please.
Like, as you're talking, I'm seeing that it's what happens when you play music. When you go into a space with one other person and play music, like, you can't be in your own bubble. You have to like meet that other person. Otherwise you can't jam. Like you becomes this one-on-one space that the two of you are completely, that the two of us are completely co-creating. And then when we're around a fire and there's 5 people playing music, like, it's the same thing. We're like listening to everybody and present with everybody and forgetting everything and like just being together. So I think, we were talking about this last night, that this is the gift of the musicians and the gift of the lovers. Like, it's the lovemaking and the it was very eye-opening to see that I'm bringing personal space into all of these spaces sometimes, and sometimes not. And that was very helpful for me as well, Elijah, to see things that are happening. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to share?
Yeah, maybe I can share, because something is ringing right now. That one-on-one space, like, when it really resonated to me when you say, when we both have to meet it, like, we both have to acknowledge that we're in that space to really be in it. I was like, also, like, being able to immerse yourself into that space, and without having to have that bubble of personal, and that's like a filter, a shield. Seeing the importance of those two, like, it's almost like survival mechanism. Something that's lacking, something that's too much.
I'm almost starting to envision, I hadn't seen it this way before. I don't know if I'm curious what you guys think, but when you speak about personal space and finding there's and you spoke towards the bubble and being in this personal space, I almost imagine the toroidal field, or just this that's around us, and truly inhabiting that space. And that's a space of connection with our being, and where we can connect with others. And then I'm starting to see that then there's almost the space of the brain, which would be almost a smaller field that we can get trapped into, and that's when we're constantly in thought patterns, like like thinking, oh, this is what I want, this is what I need, or this is what I want to tell him. So then we're almost like just here enclosed, and this is when we have like a shield when we meet with others. It's almost like we're repelling each other, or just not opening up and truly connecting through that bigger, wider. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. So it's like almost two different personal spaces.
Well, it might be that the personal space, like if you go into the personal space and fractal in and go into the next personal space, that's almost like going into, as you said, the toroidal knot, you know, the bigger energy field. And so it's almost like when you meditate, it's knowing that the mind has some sort of kind of like little bubble here that you then just have to expand. And it's getting sort of like the mind, you're giving navigation tools to be able to go into these spaces. And then as you do that, then your experience with others are going to change quite radically, I would imagine, especially as you teach them and share that with them and then go into the space together, kind of. Did you want to say anything?
That's huge.
Anyone else wanted to share? No?
No.
Okay. So then the idea is, I guess, with this spherical field, we're programming the field with the values. And that to me is like the spiritual reason we're here. We're here to learn about ourselves. We're here to experience, and we're here to experience these, you know, love, courage, inspiration, empowerment, whatever values that you go, I want to learn this. I want to experience this. I want to be this. Like, I am inspired. I am loving. I am these values. What we're doing is we're giving a map to the mind, boom, and then saying to the universe, this is what I want to do. And then the difficult part to this is that to realize those values, we have to go through experiences which may or may not be in alignment with those values. And so, you know, the more if you value love, and the more situations you are where there's no love, you know, you realize, well, okay, well, we want to create this together because this is what we've chosen that we want. And so the more conscious you are, the more aware you are of the choices that you're making, that you say to you and your group and your team and your community and the universe, you know, this is, to me, is where our free choice comes in, saying, you know, this is what I've chosen, this is what I want to experience. And now that programs your light body, that programs your Merkaba, that programs, you know, otherwise there's all these patterns in there, patterns where you don't even know where they came from. And it seems that we're here to sort of release our karma. You know, in that energy field are these little energy packets that sort of are the stuckness of some sort of karma that then, when you truly heal it, when you truly go through the experience of releasing it, then it's gone, and then boom, you get more energy. Boom, you get, you know, it's a constant release of your clearing, your sweeping, your energy field is being reprogrammed by you.
Yeah. Wow.
So then, so now that the assignment was for you to choose 10 values and then place them on the flow wheel, right? So was that done, or do we need to do that now? But I'd like to hear from every person what you came up with.
Well, yeah, if I may go first, I just find it so interesting when you're speaking towards it in this way. It's giving me a new insight of the values, because it's truly showing me how there's like the work that we're doing or being in this space. And then I hadn't seen it so clearly, that the value itself, it's pretty much something that we can stand upon and truly say, okay, this is where I'm at, and this is what I'm looking for. And then to look what experiences are going to resonate with that and allow it to come forward, or perhaps where there's interference, that's a place of growth, of why is this not coming forward, like perhaps love, for example, and then it's like, oh, but there's love is not coming forward, perhaps there's other emotions, and then it's like, what's blocking it? And then it's like, oh, maybe communication. we're lacking communications, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, okay, so I need this new value to help me almost break through this block or this barrier, and I can see that now. I'm saying, wow, okay, it's the values that we can build on top one and another that can truly become these pillars or these places that we can feel grounded and have clarity of, okay, this is what I'm working with or what I'm working towards. This is my support pretty much. And then working from there, I hadn't seen it as clearly as you just expressed it. So I'm really grateful for that, because now I see the I don't want to say the value of the values, but yeah, I see the importance of them. I can really see it. And yeah, I think the last part of it, yeah, it's just seeing that, and yeah, I guess it's yeah, just also seeing the power of the words as well, because it seems that you already have some very clear values. It almost sounds like there's, I mean, I when I'm writing them down, I'm like choosing anything that comes to mind, but I'm like, are this really, like, is this really a powerful value I want to use, or is it just an idea that I'm like, well, maybe that's could be a good value. So it's, yeah, it's a process.
So did you do the exercise?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you want to share with us what you got?
For sure. So, I mean, at this point, I find that, yeah, so I went ahead and I just wrote what came to me. And so the first one I wrote was resources, because I was just valuing the having the resources to be able to learn and grow. So I'm just acknowledging these last 2 or 3 days, I've been able to tap into a few portals online for education, but they're truly education that resonates with my passion, with my heart, with what I want to grow with, like truly, like feels authentic, feels right. Like what we're doing here right now is like, wow, it's like right on. And it's just opening my eyes. I don't know if that's related to the values, that what I'm choosing aligns completely with my values, and perhaps that's why I feel like, wow, great resonance. And that's like, okay, I'm tapping into this, and it's like, boom, rise up the energy almost. It's, yeah, so that's what I'm seeing.
What is the value you have at resources?
Resources. So that's the interesting part I was having, I guess, a challenge with, because I thought, okay, I'm gonna write resources as a value, but then I thought, is it really a value, or like what value is inside of it?
Because I mean, that's the concept. Let's say at 2.2 on the flow wheel, right?
Yeah.
So, did you choose is there another value you could choose? So you chose resources at resources kind of thing?
So in a sense, I just saw the value of having resources, I guess, but I don't know how I could express that in a different way. Or,
well, how about like just remember the exercise where in the 5 spaces that we identified 5 values, and then we placed a value at each one of those spaces, right?
Yeah.
So the exercise was to have the flow wheel, this job, activities, products, relationships, paths, strategies, agreements, and conversations, right? And then to choose a value for each one of those. Let's say clarity at conversations, or abundance at resources.
I see, yeah.
At path, or love at relationships, or empowerment at job, integrity at agreements.
Yeah, I see. I think I'm just recognizing that, yeah, I think I didn't have I guess, clarity for what the values were. Now that you expressed them so clearly, I can see what you're referring as for values. Okay. And at this point, I didn't have the right interpretation. I was just going off like.
That's fine. How about we'll switch to someone else, and if you want to identify 10 values that you like, and I mean, I'm sorry, I should have sent you all. I have a glossary of like 100 values.
Yeah.
So I will send you the glossary. Running out of time.
Yeah, that'd be amazing to have.
I can start with what I did if you'd like, or
Yeah, I can start.
Okay.
Starting in the middle, or timelessness. Can you point to it? Oh, so it's persistence. And then going on the second ring, so presence, which lines up with
Yield.
Resource?
okay. So is I'm gonna start the other way maybe.
Just can I? Yeah, Elijah, can you orient us a little bit? What is the time cycle for field?
Field is lifetime.
Okay.
Yeah, these are all good.
And what is the time cycle for communication?
Communications in the middle, and that's conversations in the middle, 2.0,
Okay.
and that's all cycles.
Okay.
all,
Okay, so then this is it.
all cycles. Oh, that's cool.
Didn't we need to switch these guys already?
They're already, so this one's here is for this one. Yeah, so
Okay, I'm actually not going to start because I just realized mine was jumbled up. So Melissa, go.
So I will start,
Okay.
and I will just mention that there's so much going on for everybody, and yeah, you had told us we could either take our time and really think about it and put a value for each one, or that we can just choose 10 and then use divination. So what I did was something kind of in the middle of like a spontaneous, what the first thing that came up as a value for what I felt in that time flow is what I wrote. So I can share what I wrote with you. And it looks like this. And I'm gonna start with lifetime. And I wrote openness. And then for yearly, I wrote focus and determination. And then lunar, I wrote acceptance and also like in the flow, like accepting of the flow. For daily, I wrote positivity. Yeah, I was like good spirits, good attitude. For seasonal, I wrote focus, like being able to visualize and project for projects and things
That sounds like imagination.
Imagination? Yeah, maybe it's like focus and imagination.
Okay.
For hourly, I wrote quiet because we just gotta shut up sometimes. And for minute, I wrote adaptive, like we gotta change with what comes up. And for the present, I wrote presence. Oh, look, and I also wrote quiet there again, so that's interesting. And then in timelessness, I put a picture of a heart, and it's like it's love, but it's also open heart. Like it's yeah, that what comes with that open heart and love. Yeah, so that's what I did, and it felt like in the middle of divination and making the decision for myself. And but yeah, I'm sure they're all true, and if I spent more time and went deeper, I'm sure that some of them would change and some of them would stay. But that was my experience with it.
Awesome. And anything for the middle, the conversation?
No, I didn't think about it, but we did just say communication, or I said the word communication instead of conversation. So, like, oh man.
Offer something that works really well there is clarity.
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah, this feels like the goal of what we're doing, no? Like to communicate clearly with ourselves and then with each other. Yeah, that resonates.
Okay, awesome. And how does it feel to kind of have that in front of you as a map?
Yeah, so that was really cool to reread it and to see those things. And like I can feel it in my brain, how it like puts the map of everything that's going on into these more tangible, even more simplified things, and that like the hurdles feel less impossible. This is like the first reaction right now that I'm feeling. When I see that like openness is what I need to have a lifetime with my family and my loves, then I can see hurdles can be overcome by that. This is what I'm feeling right now. yeah, let's see where it goes from here. And now that I have it, let's see this week how it comes into play. Somebody else want to share?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to go, Jorge?
Yeah, I could go next. And actually, just did this. Melissa said some things that just unlocked all the puzzles, and it came out in the form of values. I'll start it from the middle, which is timelessness, from the center.
I have a question. Just before our time runs out, if it cuts in the middle, what are we gonna do?
I'm just going to do, I'll just load you back in and then we'll just start from where we left.
Okay.
Thank you.
For sure.
Okay. So for timelessness, I have perseverance or intention. For the present time, I have presence. Presence.
Okay.
For the minute cycle, I have breathing.
At the minute cycle, breathing?
Yeah,
Nice.
breathing. For the hourly cycle, I have flow.
Love? Nice.
Flow. Flow.
Okay.
For this for daily cycle, I have a racing, like racing, like the sun, like getting up, and yeah, like racing when you go all the way down. Yeah, when you go all the way down and like racing back up.
That's
Oh,
ridiculous.
raising?
Yeah, racing.
Okay, that's at
Rise.
what about at 5 at products?
Other products.
Seasonal.
Seasonal. I have rhythm.
Breathing?
Rhythm.
Rhythm. Okay.
Rhythm. Mm,
Okay, that's a good one.
that's for seasonal. No,
Okay.
wait, that one's for lunar. Rhythm is for lunar.
Okay.
For seasonal, I have respect. Yeah, respect.
Okay.
For yearly cycle, I have honesty.
Okay.
And for lifetime cycle, I have humility.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And at conversation in the middle?
I really like that one. Like I'm gonna go with clarity for now. Clarity. Why are we doing all of this?
Okay. Awesome.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay.
So in the center at timelessness, I have, I did divination for this. So I got persistence into timelessness.
That's funny.
So in the present cycle, I have adventure. In the minute, I have love. In the hourly, patience. Okay. Seasonal, I have forgiveness. In daily, I have gentleness or slower or something, maybe rhythm. But anyway, gentleness. Lunar is humility. And yearly is growth. And lifetime is courage.
Nice. And the conversation in the middle, you want to do clarity too, or?
I totally wrote that down.
That's great. Like there's it's like having 4 aces in a sense when you sort of line up your values. If everyone has the same value, now you're really at the same frequency. So, okay, Diego, are you ready?
Well, yeah, I'm just having the wish that seeing that the value cards, I find it be very helpful for me to have insight of like actually having those clear values and playing with those.